Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so two things today. We are going. Essentially, what I've done is I put the factory intake back on the car because what I didn't show you before when I did all the mods was a correct install of the JLT intake. So I'm going to do that today. We're going to go step by step and show you how to install it correctly. I'm also going to inspect the JLT oil separator that I have in the car and see if it is worth, the price, and if it actually does anything for the car. So let's go ahead and dive in and check it out. Okay, so to save time, I've already taken the engine cover and stuff like that off. The strut tower brace, they're going to come here and here on these, and it's a 15mm nut, so just take them loose. And to do that, you're going to actually have to take probably the positive side of your battery loose, and then you'll pull that whole cable assembly away from the strut tower brace so you can take it off. And on 18, you have two 10mm bolts holding the engine cover on. So there's one here and here, and you'll just pop the little covers off, and then it's a 10mm. It's pretty straight to the point and simple. So what we're going to do now is I've already got things started, since this was pretty much a deinstall of the GLT, and then put this back on just to kind of show you, go through the motion, show you what, how it goes in the car, what I think of it. So, so essentially you're just going to pull all of your cables off, and then back here as well. Actually just take this loose. So you'll first start off, you'll take all these clips and everything loose. Make sure that your mass flow sensor is out. Don't lose little screws, don't damage it, just be real careful with it. And then this whole piece is going to come off of the car. And then back here, there's a little tab, and you're going to pull up. So that's going to separate just like that. So right in there is your little tab. Now under here on this one, it comes with one too, and unfortunately I broke mine, so just be very careful, but I'll show you how to fix that with a zip tie. So you take all of this loose, and then you can set it aside. Here's your stock air filter, trash. So then over here you have a 10mm that you're going to have to get to, and then you're going to take, the pieces off. And this whole thing's going to slide out. So on this, there's going to be a rubber grommet here and here. You're going to keep those pieces, and then this whole piece, you just set it aside. You won't use it again. So now we have an empty engine bay. And then while we're under here, we're going to check out the oil separator. All right, so these oil separators are very easy. They have the same kind of plugs, and I'm just going to take it off since I have everything undone. And this is how it looks. You've all seen this before. So I've driven the car. I haven't seen this yet. So I've driven the car about maybe 1,000 miles since I've had it on the car. And yes, it is working. Let's see if I can give you a shot of this. So that is a good bit of oil, over 1,000 miles. It's not too excessive, but it is there. So this little thing does its job, and this is what the inside of it looks like. So it all passes through there and then filters down. And there's some oil residue there, you can see. But I would say yes. If that is over 1,000 miles, imagine the course of the lifetime of the engine. The guys that are running around with these things for 30,000 miles or more, without having something like this. Yeah, I would say that this is definitely helpful. And if you don't own an oil separator, go buy one. But you can also use the discount codes that I talked about yesterday, and you can save some money on one of these. And I really like GLT. I've had them in the past, and I kind of refuse to go anywhere else. There's UPR, there's some other stuff, but GLT is, the quality with GLT is awesome. It's just a superior product, and I'm going to back them, every day and twice on Sunday. So we have our oil, and so you guys can see this. I'm going to carefully pour it into this empty water bottle. So there's not a whole lot there, but there is something. So without this oil separator, you know, that's going to get recycled back into the top of the engine and stuff like that. So back into the intake, which is where we do not want it. So, yep, it definitely works. Go buy one. So you're going to get this box from JLT to start with. So it's going to go look just like this. It's going to have all the other stuff inside of it too. But the way they have done it is this thing will slide out. And then this will couple with the air intake coming through the bumper. And all that you would really do is once you get it in there is there are two little notches here. So you're going to make sure that those are pushed all the way through like that so it does lock and secure in place. Now also the pieces that we saved earlier, this is one of those rubber grommets right there. So the way that this thing works is you're going to pull that grommet free from the other one. It's going to come with a little metal sleeve, and you're just going to shove it through there and then put the metal insert in there like that, and that's it. Okay, so now when it comes to the intake itself, so this is all going to be in pieces, but you know, the quality, the fit and finish is awesome. So, you know, everywhere there's like a flat spot where it's going to rest, you know, they've actually they've got it molded like that, so it's awesome. Everything is there, it's all secure, you know, all your plugs, it gives you enough of these clamps. The filter's huge. It's definitely awesome. So this one does not use any kind of like a metal, you know, sleeve right here. It's all, you know, nice hard plastic, GLT, you know, engraved right there. So your mass airflow sensor is also going to come with this little rubber insert here, kind of like, you know, it protects from weather or any water getting inside, anything like that. So it's just a little, you know, secure barrier that they do include with the kit, and then you'll install that correctly with their screws. And then don't over tighten these, you know, they just need to be snug, that's it. And then really we just put it back in the car. All right, so to install this into the car, you're going to take your box and then you're going to fish it down inside. And then I told you about that little piece that slides forward. You're going to try to line that thing up once the box is in. And it is. Now, it's a cool little trick, and it's really neat that it actually, you know, that it slides back and forth like that, because you can put your arm down here and you can feel where it needs to be. Or, which I did the first time, this whole thing is so big you can actually put your head down there and make sure that it connects like it's supposed to. So yeah, we're lined up. That secures between those two little tabs, and it's in there. So the next thing to do is you take your screw that came out of the original air box, and then you're going to just screw it down here. Make sure it all lines up correctly. So once you got it kind of threaded, just take your 10mm and you're going to secure it tightly. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and pre-install this thing like I had shown, you know, before you actually put it on the car. It just makes life a little bit easier. And I told you before that I kind of broke that little piece, so I'm going to show you how to fix that with a zip tie. Okay. So we're just going to set this here, make sure this doesn't come off. And then I'm going to cut underneath. I'm going to come underneath like this, and I'm going to run the zip tie through it. All right, so it's going to look like that. All right, so this is how it looks. And it's in there, it's not coming out. So no issues there. You know, accidents happen, things break when we're working on cars, but it's okay. So now we're just going to reposition this thing. All right, so you'll give it a little snug, and then visually inspect to make sure that it's on there all the way and that it's not bowed up or anything like that, so you have no fitment issues. But this is how it should look. Flathead screwdriver, tighten everything down. All right. Once you make sure everything is tight, and then give it another once over again. Make sure it didn't come free anywhere. You do want this thing to be on the car, not to pop off or anything like that. So, make sure it's all right on there. So in my case, I need to take it loose again just a little bit, reposition, no big deal. Okay, give it a once over again. We are good to go. So you move on to the mass airflow sensor now. So, all right, now if you have not installed your mass airflow, you can go ahead and do that now. Again, just be careful, be cognizant of whenever you tighten these little screws up. Okay, so something else. Whenever you're installing this, they give you an option. You can run your sound tube or you can delete it. And they do include everything that you need to delete it, so no big deal there. You have everything that you need. This down here is going to be back there underneath all of that, so it'll be kind of back like this. And you'll run a 10 millimeter down there. It's kind of a tricky thing to get to. Take your time, and then it has a cap that you clip in there too. It's a pain in the butt. There's just no way around it. It sucks. But I chose to delete this whole thing. So for a couple of reasons, I'll talk about it right now. But what we're gonna do with this is throw it away because nobody wants that thing. So I found that when I deleted the sound tube, it gave the cabin a quieter ride. It's definitely more enjoyable. So there was less of this drony kind of just noise. All I hear is the exhaust, and I can still hear the intake too a little bit, but I don't hear any weird noises or anything like that. So it sounds better when you delete the sound tube. But if you choose to run it now, in my case, I actually chose to run it at first and then delete it later. But they give you the pieces that you need to install into the intake so that you can hook everything up. Now, with that said, if you choose to run your sound tube, they do not include any kind of a cap for the piece that goes into the intake. So I actually went to Home Depot and I found some just little rubber caps and another one of these clamps, and then I took care of it that way. I spent a few dollars and capped it off, but no big deal. So I honestly, if I were to do this again, would just never run the sound tube. I would just delete it right then and there. So, but anyway, we're going to continue on. So this right here, if you need to move this, you can reposition that. So, and it will clip on just like that. No issues whatsoever. And then be careful and try to hold on to this little clamp here because there's a hole in the JLT box. It's going to go in place. Put your mass airflow in and then push the the red clip forward and you are complete. Okay, so once everything is installed correctly, you do want to make sure that you flash your computer for this intake. It's 120 millimeters big, so it's fairly larger than the stock unit. And once you have done all of that, enjoy your extra added horsepower. So I think that this compared to some of the other intakes that are on the market, and there are a few right now for the 18s, everybody's still kind of coming out with theirs, but I know that Steeda has one, and I think that it's still like a no tune required thing, but this guy here you definitely have to tune for. So really, if you're adding an intake to a car and you don't have to tune for it, it's not, in my opinion, it's not doing a whole lot. Now, intakes are arguably one of the things that you should just skip anyway and save your money and put it elsewhere. But, I really do think that this adds, some power. I know the GLT and some of these other companies, they do test these things. So they're not completely lying to you. They do add power. How much is that? I don't know. I did not do my own independent testing, between the stock airbox and this, but these companies have been around for a while, and there's other guys that do their independent testing, you know, before and after, and they are picking up horsepower. So I think that it's definitely something that you should consider doing to your car. And if you choose, you know, to keep your stock airbox with everything else, you know, there's no foul in that. There's really not. But if you were going to shop for an intake, I would look no further than JLT. I really would just overlook everybody else and I'd go straight to JLT. I think their customer service, you know, at least for me, their customer service is awesome. You know, great bunch of guys down there. I think that their business ethics are really good. They've treated me fair, and I'm going to vouch for them every time. So I think that they make a superior product. I like their oil separator. I like their intake. I like everything that they make. So definitely go buy one and use that code. Use the code that I've got down in the description. So now we have everything installed correctly. We've drained the oil from that. And the only thing I really have to do is put it all back together. All right, guys, that wraps it up. So it's an intake install. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. I do tend to like the JLT stuff better than, you know, the competition for my own reasons. But anyway, man, I need a shop. Every time I pick up the camera to film, a car drives by. It's nuts. So, okay. Anyway, continuing on. If you are just stopping by for the first time, hit the like and subscribe button so you can go catch up on my other videos and stay tuned for the future ones to come. And if you're coming back to watch this one, thank you very much. And hopefully you found this educational, and I'll see you guys later.